Good evening and welcome to the Invictus Racing League. This is season 17 of the IRL, and this is the Equal Performance Leagues. This is tier 1, the top tier of the structure, and we're here for round number 14, the penultimate round at the Australian Grand Prix, brought to you by our partners of gridfinder.com and Venturi Studios. Obviously, you may be aware, we've had a couple of weeks off. Unfortunately, I was away on holiday and couldn't quite find someone to step in, but we're back for round 14. We'll go through the standings. We're just going to qualifying now, 18 minutes worth of qualifying. So we'll just get everything all set up here. Ash Tube going out on mediums first, as he has done for most of the season. But in terms of the championship, let's have a quick look at those before we get into the qualifying session itself, as I believe that could be an Alpine of Blester going out on circuit. Adjust that just slightly, the volume control. There we go. In terms of the championship though, Malc is currently leading the way on 168 points to Emir's 112, and that does make Malc champion of tier 1. Ghost is on 89 points, with Stinos on 75, MDJ 72, Jeremy Clarkson 39. So we've got this big fight here for kind of like 3rd, 4th, 5th, but potentially we've also got a small fight potentially for 2nd if Emir decides not to race, and my co-coms has just arrived, so I have to quickly readjust the audio balance. But on to the constructors. Obviously, Aston Martin have won the constructors, 280 points they're on. Ferrari 114 with AlphaTauri 111, so a big fight there for 2nd. Williams 4th on 82 and McLaren on 69. And if you don't know already, I am JPH_99, and joining me, as he just has done now, is Bruce Lee Harding. Good evening, Bruce.
Yeah, good evening, JPH. Yeah, apologies for the lateness, everyone. Took a long time to get out from my grid walk, I think, there, but yeah, I'm here now. So, yeah, yeah, nice dry qualifying session by looks of it for these guys.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm guessing you gave a few people some nipple tweaks on the way up from your grid walk. You know, a bit of good luck.
Yeah, I unfortunately I ran into Machine Gun Kelly again, and he made absolutely no sense, just like the last time. So, but yeah, I tried to just talk to some relatively sane people this time, found a couple, but yeah, no, it's good to be back doing comms again from tier 1. So yeah, looking forward to it.
Absolutely, is going to be a fantastic race here at Australia. Obviously, penultimate round, both championships kind of signed off in terms of Aston Martin dominance. We do have Cameron Searle back in for this tier 1. It looks like he's slowly getting used to the new set of controls. He's got probably one of the weirdest controls I've ever seen. He's got some pedals and a controller. He uses the pedals for throttle and brake and controller for the steering. So, not quite sure how his brain works around that one, but it's quite impressive.
Yeah, that is very impressive, actually. To be fair, I think I would struggle. I struggled with the controller, let alone trying to use your feet and the pad at the same time. That's yeah, an impressive effort. As and talking of efforts, Blester puts in the first lap of a 17.4.
Yeah, 1:17.4 there for Blester. He's made his return for a little bit of time out, but Cameron just coming up to the last few corners here in the number 5 Red Bull. Obviously, Cameron technically now a reserve in this tier because he is full-time in tier 2, courtesy of that control method change. He's going to cross the line. It's going to be a 1:17.2, so he now takes provisional pole position. But let's see if we can go on board with someone here. Owen's on a hot lap. who we got? Got spooked in the Alfa Romeo. Let's have a go with him around this Albert Park circuit. 5.278 kilometers long. There's a slight wiggle out of the final corner. But down the main straight, DRS open towards turns 1 and 2. Hit the brakes as late as you dare. Clip the right-hand curb, but not too much, and use as much as you can without invalidating through the exit of 1 and then through 2. Down to 3, again DRS, about 100 metres braking for turn 3. Easy to lose the back end, so short shift to 4th as you then bring it through the car park at turn 4. 5 is flat. Then we're heading up to the very fast complex. 6 and 7, down a gear, 2 gears for got spooked, and then just as soon as you can pick up the throttle, because this will now carry you all the way through turn 8. This long flat right hander, and then it goes flat left as you head down towards the 910 chicane. So getting the exit of 6 is very important to carry speed all the way down to here. Down to 6th, flick it left, flick it right, don't touch the curb. He's invalidated on the outside, which is a bit of a shame, but he's lucky not to have lost the back end. That's a dangerous curb. DRS again, turn 11, redone, very much a 90-degree corner. Turn 12, just down a gear to make the front end bite, then back up to 6th as you head towards turn 13. There's a hairpin left, and Spook's not going to finish the lap because he's invalidated, but obviously turn 14, the last corner, a very easy place to spin the car, and a lap of Albert Park was almost completed by Yacht Spooked.
Absolutely, yeah. Merckx is also just coming up towards the end of what I believe is flying lap now. Looking at the times, it looks like that. So haven't really seen any split times. So it'd be interesting to see what he does right now. And a 16.9 for Merckx. So yeah, straight into the 16s for the Aston Martin driver.
Yeah, it's interesting. Cameron now up there with the second place with his bizarro control method. Who else we got there? MDJ in the pits at the moment. I'm guessing that's because he either invalidated or he just hasn't gone out yet. Thing is, though, obviously we haven't really seen any other tiers, streaming wise. So no one really, unless you try to have spoken to the likes of tier 4, tier 3, tier 2, they're not really going to know much about tyre wear like they usually do.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, we know already from earlier this week, tyre is not really a big problem around here. It's sort of pretty run of the mill, especially compared to Qatar from the week before. Obviously, the tyre wear in Qatar is pretty extreme, to say the least. So yeah, I'm sure they'll be glad to be back on a sort of slightly more normal sort of strategy compared to that. But yeah, it would be interesting to see who's been talking to who and if anyone's picked up any pointers along the way. But yeah, I mean, pretty much everyone in the pits. Now, Cameron's on an out lap. Everyone else is in the pits.
One of the McLarens, Owen, has just appeared out of the pits. We'll have a lap with Owen when he gets round to the line, because he's had a bit of an up and down season as Owen. To be fair to him, I mean, he's currently 16th in the standings with 18 points. He's had a lot of times where either he's had a small internet mechanical failure, or he's been caught up in stuff not really caused by him. So he'll be hoping for a strong end to the season, and he's definitely got the pace to do that.
Absolutely interesting. I'm just keeping an eye on Merckx. I think Merckx did a flying lap. He's then recharged on a slowdown lap, and he's now having another go at a flying lap on the same set of softs. So obviously he's fueled a little bit heavier. First sector, he's very much a similar time to his last run, and yeah, he's just gained a few hundredths there on what he was before. So he is up on his previous time, but maybe the tyre wear now on these softs is not allowing him to improve by a drastic amount, but he is still improving nonetheless.
So as he comes through the last couple of corners, will he complete? Yes, he will. See through that last corner. Such an easy one to spin out there. As we've seen it before, someone spinning on the last lap, but he does go quicker. 1:16.7. Meanwhile, let's go on board with Owen for a lap. Let's see how he goes. So across the line, I'm currently on a 17.998. Little twitch through 1 and 2, but no real pace lost there so far. So he goes barreling down to 3. A bit of curb on the entry. No curb through 4 apart from the exit. Not the best place to be using curb through 4, but 5 is flat. As you say, up to 6 and 7. What type of run does he get out here? A good one, in my opinion. That was a pretty smooth exit through 6. Long DRS zone here. Right. Goes down an extra gear zone there to get the front end to bite. Because we are well into sector 3. A lot of curb taken through 11 up to 12. That Mercedes just getting out of the way. I believe that's Rick VE17. Last couple of corners for the McLaren. Where is this going to put Owen for now? Up to the line he comes. It's a 17.364, fourth place so far for the McLaren driver.
Yeah, good effort that from Owen. His teammate Joshua Bashford is also improving, not by a huge amount, but he did improve his time, but only by a tenth. So yeah, remains 8th position on the grid currently. I think Joshua may be a little bit disappointed. We used to see him slightly higher up than that, but that's a great effort from Owen. I think he'll be delighted with that.
Oh, Martin's had a massive moment coming out of the turn 9-10 chicane. Just ran a little bit wide, got into the gravel, and it's a very good save from the Haas driver. But lucky not to plant the barrier. That's definitely one of the corners to look out for. If you're going to take a wheel off, there's certainly a corner to do it on.
So MDJ, I think, was on a flying lap. He's just coming to the pits because of an invalidation. So at the moment, obviously, Rick VE, MDJ, and Gotspooked yet to set a time at the moment, and MDJ looks like he's up against it a little bit now, and Gotspooked as well, both in the pits. They're going to be pushing it a bit now to get. Well, I mean, they've got enough time, but they're putting themselves under a bit of pressure to get a time done. As Rick VE comes up to the line now and goes 8th position. So yeah, it's a good lap there from Rick. Should have enough time to come around and get some new softs on and have another go.
A second covering the top 9. You feel the drivers behind also have it in them to get within a second. As I think Stinos has just gone into second place with that. I believe that was the livery that Ferrari used for the Las Vegas Grand Prix. Not really sure why they used it like that, but it's certainly an interesting livery, to say the least.
Yeah, it does look like they've just recovered it from the paint shop, but forgot to do the whole paint job, to be honest. It's not the most impressive special livery I've ever seen, but I'm sure there's some people out there who absolutely love it, but I'm going to be honest, I'm not one of them. But again, we're in that sort of lull period now, where we're waiting Ghost about to cross the line, I think, on a fly-in lap.
117.195, that's third place for the AlphaTauri, and those AlphaTauris are in a big fight with Stinos, basically because it's Ferrari and AlphaTauri who are in a big fight for second in the championship as Ashtube puts in a 17.847.
Yeah, and you go Ghost and Reshka and the AlphaTauris, they've had moments this year, this season, where things haven't quite gone to plan for them. Obviously, Stinos, he's been without a teammate for a while now, I think. So, if I remember correctly, I mean, he's doing a great job, really. Stinos, and obviously single-handedly trying to fight them off now for the next 2 races is going to be tricky. But he's definitely got the ability, and I think Stinos' main aim will be to probably just try and cover Ghost, and then whatever happens with Reshka.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think Ferrari saving grace, obviously with Stinos, but also Jeremy Clarkson was the teammate earlier on. When Jeremy did race, he did put in some good performances. He's got 39 points this season for that Ferrari team, and that's kind of helping. Where obviously Reshka's got 22. I mean, we know Reshka's not slow, but he's definitely. He'll probably be the first to say he's not always regularly in those points-paying positions. but he finishes almost every race. So when he is in there, it's been a good drive from him.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think also another thing to note really with Reska is obviously he's probably not as high as he'd like to be in the championship, but he's also he's still going. He's not given up. He's given it his all for the team, and as you say, those points that he has, could be massively valuable come the end of the season, come the end of Japan next week.
Absolutely, as Reska, the first person out to do his final qualifying lap of the session. Obviously, he's just on his out lap going around now, just looking after those tyres. And I'd be interested to know. I think Reska, he's got 3 laps on board, and it wouldn't surprise me he's running a lean mixture at the moment on this out lap, just to conserve the fuel, so that if he does invalidate, he's got the opportunity to charge the battery and go again. As he now comes up to the final few corners to start what would be his final flying lap.
Yeah, absolutely. Maybe good tactics there from Reska. He has tested the limit of the tyres for. He has tested the limit of the tyres from running wide coming out of the pits at turn 1. So, he's clearly not going again now.
Double warm up, I think. I think he's going for a double warm up, which has been discussed before, actually, within the tier about these sort of doing a second warm up lap and really getting the tyres up into that temperature window, because 1 lap really isn't enough to get them into that optimal window. But what Reska now has to be aware of is those potentially behind on a fast lap, although everyone's on an out lap currently, apart from, I think, SFR Martin.
Yeah, Martin did come out not far behind Reska, so these two really are the only drivers that have the ability now or the time to do a double warm up. But looking at the way Martin's going here, he is straight on a flying lap now. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see how that goes for Reska. Whether or not a big slide for Martin there out of the car park section, but still going well. But yeah, whether that works for Reska or not, I will find out soon.
So, yeah, and Martin, that hasn't worked for him because he's invalidated the lap. I think he's got enough time though to charge the battery back up. So he's gotten a little bit lucky. Rock Lee has done the same as well in the first sector. It looks like the first sector is very primitive to track invalidations here. So it means Ghost will be the first person now to complete the final run in qualifying.
Yeah, it's going to be tight for Martin, I think, because he didn't have many seconds left. I can't see the time at the moment because we've got a caution because MDJ's going slow, but he's going to cross the line. I think he's going to be. There's still a few people here going on their out laps. Rick is one of them, but he's not going to make it around.
That looks tight for Rock Lee as well, actually. Those 3 on. That's it. They're done.
Yeah, confused as to why Rick was a long way off of getting out there in time for a flying lap. So yeah, very strange. Martin's qualifying's obviously over after that invalidation as well. Let's see how Reska's getting on at the moment, because he's actually nearing the end of the lap.
Meanwhile, his teammate Ghost, he's coming up to the line now. We've also got a McLaren, I believe, of Owen potentially behind. Ghost does go quicker, but doesn't improve position. It's Joshua Bashford next across the line. He goes 5th quickest with a 17.3. Meanwhile, Reska behind. What can he conjure out of that AlphaTauri? It's a 10th best time. 6/10 off the leader. Got spooked. He's going to put that last gasp effort into 4th place with the Alfa Romeo. Stinos stays in 2nd. Does Merck go any quicker? Yes, he does. A 16.705. Blester, the next person to come across the line. He's, I think, out of fuel or doing something different, because that ain't very quick. We have the Williams of MDJ. He crosses the line. Only 11th for MDJ. He'd have wanted better than that. Ashtu getting out the way of Cameron Searle. And Cameron does go a little quicker, but again, not quick enough to change his position. And Owen has an invalidated lap, which means that is qualifying over. And it is an Aston Martin on pole position of Merckx.
Yes, a great job there for Merckx, and excellent to see, as you say, Reska there 12th on the grid, but yeah, only 1 second, give or take there from pole position. So it's a pretty tight grid, and with the exception of Martin, who's a little bit further back, but I think he had more to give. He just had that invalidation at the end there. So yeah, I would suggest probably the whole grid would have been covered by about a second. Maybe the 1.1 that it currently is between Merckx and Ashtube. So great to see it. It's clearly going to be quite a competitive race.
Yeah, it just depends what the weather minions say.
We have had one wet race already this week, at least, that we know of.
Yeah, it must be stated, got spooked. That's a good effort at the end to pull the time out of the bag after two kind of bad laps that didn't count. But Bruce, would you like to take us through the grid order for the Australian Grand Prix?
Absolutely, yeah. So Merckx on pole position there in the Aston with the Ferrari of Stinos alongside on the front row. Ghost third with Got Spooked fourth in the Alfa Romeo. Cameron Searle back in Tier 1 in the Red Bull, fifth on the grid with Joshua Bashford sixth. Joshua's teammate Owen seventh in the McLaren with Rockley eighth. Blester on his return ninth with Rick in 10th, MDJ 11th, Raska 12th, Ashtube 13th, and Martin in the Haas bringing up the rear of the field.
And some interesting news. Apparently, Owen on his last lap, he accidentally downshifted as he started his last lap, so that route put pace to his final lap straight away. Certainly pays to know which paddle to click when you're starting your lap.
Yeah, that would have obviously, even if he'd have quickly realised his mistake, it would have cost him several tenths of a second. And the thing is, with these guys, they're obviously on the limit from the start, and any loss of 3 tenths is quite a big loss that they know they won't get back during the rest of the lap. So they probably have to push super hard, and then that's when the invalidations probably come. But yeah, it was a great effort from all of them, really. And like I say, the times are so close. We could be in for a pretty spectacular race.
Yeah, and so as you say, even though the drivers and the constructors are already wrapped up, there's still a lot of midfield battles to be sorted between drivers and constructors. So there's no one here is they're still racing for something in terms of the championship position, because okay, if you can't win, you want to be as high up that grid as you can.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I think with any sort of racing driver or any sort of competitive nature of people in general, I think even if it was a non-point scoring round, everyone would still be giving it their all and racing as hard as they possibly can. So yeah, I don't expect that to change even at this late stage of the season. And yeah, even though I didn't catch it as you're saying, but I believe Merckx and Aston is all wrapped up now, I believe.
Yep.
So yeah, even though that is the case, I'm still expecting some hard fought battles on the track, and yeah, hopefully some nice, clean, competitive, fair racing. But it's a circuit, this one, which one small mistake can have pretty disastrous consequences. It's a street circuit with a slight difference, but those walls are very, very close at the speeds that we're all going.
Yeah, I mean the one thing we definitely don't want to see is Race 3 British touring car star racing, because whilst it's good to watch in touring cars, it doesn't quite work in open wheel formula.
No, it doesn't. No. And yeah, wheels would definitely go flying. But yeah, it's like you say, you want the competitive racing. You may you get the odd sort of tap here and there, but yeah, you don't want to take it too far, because it will end races, and obviously we want to see the grids full, and we want to see the grids full for as long as possible throughout the race.
So I believe we're probably in the countdown now. Merckx has said let's go. Good evening to everyone who has joined. We are about to start the Australian Grand Prix, as we have the 5 red lights. We are green for the Australian Grand Prix, and it looks like Merckx got the best getaway. We'll look at tyres very shortly. Got spooked up into third at the moment. He's got the jump, and I think almost 3 wide in the mid-pack as we go through for the first time through turn 1. Looks a bit wide from Blester, but luckily no contact there. Reschke now at the back. with Martin. Cameron fighting with Gotspook. This is for 4th place. Through turn 3 we go into the car park of 4. Oh, I think that's a spinner. I think that's Martin's gone round. Or had a little bit of contact. Luckily he's still going. He's not too far off the pack. Blester up into 7th place. Cameron Searle gets into 4th. Up through turn 6 for the first time. And everyone knows the tail in this little bit of a train we have. Blester a little kind of like the first gap as Owen all over the back of Got Spooked and Stinos on the back of Merckx. He'll be hoping to stay there so that when DRS kicks in he's got a chance to get past. Cameron Searle though looking to the outside of Ghost, looking maybe for a run out of 10. Doesn't look like he's quite going to get it, but Owen also looking racy behind the Alfa Romeo. He's going to go to the inside, down towards turn 11, and even without DRS, we've got overtaking going on. Blessed defending from Joshua Bashford, but it looks like MDJ is going to get a run on the McLaren into turn 12, and MDJ up into 8th after that poor qualifying session. The Williams now just has to defend through these last couple of corners and maybe try and get on that ERS. Reshka making a move round the outside of the final corner. Ricky, VE17. That's a fantastic thing. And one thing I have missed is Stinos has got into the lead. I don't know whether Bruce might have seen that. We'll catch up with him in a minute, as everyone now looks like they're going to start calming down into a single file line.
Yeah, well done there, John. That was pretty impressive following that. I thought I was going to nip off for half an hour and then come back when you finished. But yeah, no, Stinos did the move down at the end of the the last DRS straight there into the 90 right. So yeah, big slide there, big slide for Got Spooked, and yeah, he's dropped a few places now because of that. But yeah, really good move from Stinos, really sort of nice collected, all clean and everything. And yeah, Martin at the start, he just ever so slightly outbraked himself into turn 3 and just tapped the side pod of a fellow competitor. I didn't see who it was, and luckily collected it all pretty quickly and has now rejoined the back of the pack.
So, as far as let's look at the tyres, and that's the reason Stinos is up into first, is because he started on the soft compound tyre. Merckx is on the hards, along with Ghost. Owen on the soft compound, Cameron on the hards, Blester mediums, MTJ is on hards, Joshua Bashford, Got Spooked, Ashtube and Reshka all on mediums. Rockley, Rick, VE17 and Martin all on hard. So very much mixed strategy, which I quite like to see. It's good to see this sort of not everyone following the same one-stop style medium and hard strategy. Other people going for different strategies, which is good to see.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm a little bit surprised to see the soft tyres, but yeah, Stinos has made that work now early doors. It's just whether or not he can sort of hammer home the advantage on those tyres now as Owen goes into the car park. A 3-second penalty, and he's across the grass, and he's dropping places. I don't know if Leicester's going to go for a move here.
He's going to look around the outside, but it's not quite going to pay. Oh, a bit of contact with the Williams as he tries to get back in line. A little bit more wheel tapping,
wide.
And a big accident. Oh, and that's a Alfa Romeo have got Spooks in the wall. We have a virtual safety car. It would not surprise me if this got given a full safety car. And Joshua Bashford has a 5-second penalty for a severe collision with Got Spooked. I mean, that was absolute. And as I predicted there, the safety car is now out. Bert Mylander making his first appearance of the night. That just looked like a complete bottleneck, and something was always going to give.
Yeah, they sort of went 3 wide, and around that corner it's very difficult because your car's always angling outwards, and I think really that was a sort of situation where it needed one of the drivers to just go, yeah, okay, I'm gonna bail out of this. This isn't worth the fight. But unfortunately, no one was willing to make that decision, and I got a feeling Got Spooked was a bit of an innocent victim in that. I'm not sure he was one of the ones that was 3 wide at the start. I may be wrong, but I think he unfortunately got caught up in the tail end of the initial contact and got fired out into the wall.
Yeah, obviously Owen was obviously slower than everyone. And to be fair, Owen did nothing wrong. Blester tried to go around the outside, it didn't pay off for him. Obviously that meant everyone was a little bit slow out of 7, and you kind of get that concertina effect where because everyone else behind is carrying that much more pace because they weren't quite there at the start of it all. I think everyone just kind of was trying to avoid everyone, and unfortunately when something like that happens, generally speaking, someone normally get spun around, put into war, as we've seen. But a lot of people have made early pit stops. Ghost, Blester, and Astute all have stayed out.
Yeah, makes sense. Absolutely makes sense with with Ghost obviously being on the hard tyres, but Merc started on the hard tyres, didn't he, as well? So he's gone to the mediums now, which means obviously he had a slight pace advantage over Stinos, who, you know, not really in the net lead. I think in this situation, I think Ghost is definitely still the net race leader, because with the tyres still only being a few laps old, the performance difference isn't going to be massive at this stage of the race. So Rockley coming in for softs, so he's obviously hoping to make some gains once we get going again. So yeah, it'd be interesting to see whether or not it was really, especially for the harder tyre runners, worth actually coming in the pits, because I'm pretty sure those mediums aren't going to do what will probably be the best part of 24, maybe, 24 laps.
Yeah, you have to feel they're definitely going to be on a two-stop, but I wonder, Stinos and Owen, obviously they've gone from soft tyres to hard tyres. The question is, well, are those hard tyres going to go to the end? Because if they are going to have a nice little gap when everyone else, as we are expecting, has to pit.
Yeah, absolutely. I think they're going to be a little bit warm towards the end of the race, obviously. So it'd be interesting to see now with Merc, if he has two sets of mediums, whether he'll go to medium now, and will have quite a pace advantage, especially once those hards start to get a little bit warm towards the end of the race. So this could be really for the people who have switched now to the mediums, like Merc, Cameron, et al. Then basically it's a case of how much they can make those tyres, perform for them now. In this before their next pit stop.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one person who'd be somewhat a little bit happy about the safety car is going to be Owen, because he was coming under a lot of threat after that mistake through the car park section. I don't really know what happened to him either. I mean, it looked like he kind of ran wide through turn 4 and got on the curb, and it made the car kind of twitch, and it meant that he cut turn 5 because he just trying to make sure the car didn't spin around. But safety car is going to come in this lap, so let's see what happens on this restart. I also believe, if I'm not mistaken, Reshka has gone medium, if I'm not too mistaken.
But yeah, as you said, so Reshka then in that case will be obviously looking to do another stop. Whether he could maybe get these mediums to maybe like lap 20, and then maybe bolt on some softs for his and a crack at the fastest lap as well, might be something he could look at towards the end of the race, because as you say, with AlphaTauri in such a tight battle with
and
Ferrari
Ghost has gone
at every point.
Ghost went before the penultimate corner there, and he has caught Blester a little bit off guard. 610s, Blester's a little bit of a twitch. He clips the grass on the exit of the final corner. Tyres not quite up to temperature, that's for certain, but into turn 1 we go. And everyone just line astern. No one quite, not quite making a move, but it looks like Martin and Rick looking to have a little bit of a battle as we head down towards turn 3. Here comes Martin, Merckx and Stinos side by side through turn 3 into turn 4. Difference of compounds, mediums to hards, side by side through 5. You can't do that, but they're going to defy the physics of racing around here on this game. They're still side by side through 6, through 7, a little bit of wheel bang, more wheel banging, but it was all good. They're still going. Who's going to use their ERS? That's the question, because ERS is a vital thing around this circuit. You want to keep some back, but Stinos is still hanging around the outside. Surely they're not going to go side by side through turn 9 and 10. No, Stinos thinks better of it. As I say that, Cameron Searle's lost the back end. He's cut the corner, possibly in avoidance. But that was some phenomenal racing between these two, as Stinos still looking to actually retaliate, get past. He was looking to the outside. Fortunately, the door was always going to close on that attempt. It would have been better off trying to switch back it. It's allowed Rock Lee through into 5th place. And Merckx up into 4th at the moment. Stinos, I think he just has to remember he's on those hard tyres. He just doesn't need to lose too much time here to those around.
No, absolutely. What it was, Rock Lee had a run on Owen there, a slight bit of contact, and They were side by side into the chicane with Cameron and Stinos and Merck just in front. And Owen just slightly tapped the back of Cameron's car, and it just unsettled the Red Bull. And I think he had no choice but to then cut across the chicane and rejoin after. And yeah, Cameron now back in front of Owen. Obviously, it's a shame he's dropped down now behind Rockley because of it. But yeah, I don't know whether Owen gave the position back to Cameron or whether it's just played out that way. But yeah, just an unfortunate incident, really. Easy mistake to make.
Well, as Cameron gets really close to Stinos through turn 8, he's going to get past the Ferrari before turn 9. So into the chicane, Rick VE looking to the outside through the chicane. Nicely done by the Mercedes, as he's getting under pressure from Reshka and MDJ behind. It's an unusual position this for MDJ this far down, as he looks to the inside of the AlphaTauri, and that's a Red Bull of Cameron Searle. He's had a bit of an issue through turn 11.
Yeah, not sure what happened there. He just popped back onto the track in front of these guys, ghosted luckily. But yeah, MDJ's looking very, very racy. But yeah, MDJ looking very racy, but he's up against some stiff competition here. Rashka's having a really good race and some really good defending, but that's the move done there for MDJ now into turn 1.
I mean, it might be worth Reshka trying to follow MDJ here, because MDJ should get up onto the back of Rick VE, and maybe Reshka can use him to overtake. Cameron Searle, I believe, in the pits, possibly front wing, I'm going to say, because of that pit stop. You'd have thought if he didn't have any damage from that incident, turn 11, he wouldn't have bothered pitting. But Owen, just behind Stinos. Now, these two are on the same compound tyre, same age. And it just looks like Stinos' car is just not liking these hard compound tyres. It's just not firing them up.
Absolutely, a bit of lag there for Ghost. Blester's right behind him, but he's been held up there a little bit, and now Merckx is looking.
Oh, and Ghost is disconnected.
Blester now inherits the lead. Yeah, there was a big bit of lag there for Ghost, and yeah, obviously the disconnections happened, unfortunately.
Yeah, that's a bit of a shame. I don't know, Bruce, I think you can probably send an invite into this message group for Ghost to try and get back in, as Merckx overtakes Phil the lead. Bashford just going past Reshka there. Owen diving to the inside of Stinos at turn 4, looking for that move. He's going to get that move done. Cameron Searle back in the pits again, and Owen completing the move on Stinos for 5th place. And he's right on the back of Robley. That McLaren is looking quick on these hard tyres. Hopefully Brucey manages to send that invite to hopefully try and get Ghost back in here, because it'll be a shame if he doesn't complete this race as Ashtube. Oh, big accident! Blester out before turn 9. Safety car has been called. Call that at the top of the screen. I am not sure what on earth just happened there, but Blester's ended up into the inside wall before turn 9. Ghost has rejoined under this safety car. But that was an insane accident.
Yeah, unfortunately I missed that because of sending Ghost an invite. But yeah, big shame for Blester. He was having an excellent race.
It kind of looked like there was side by side contact with someone, possibly Rockley, because Rockley did get a 5-second penalty for severe collision, and it's meant that the Alpine has just gone careering into the wall. But yeah, who knows? I mean, safety cars out. So Reg VE now inherits the lead. However, I don't think his medium tyres will go to the end here. Merckx has come in for another set of mediums. Ghost has got in, but his AI obviously hasn't pitted from those hard compound tyres, which is a shame, because it means he's going to go to the back of the field, because he will be wanting to ditch those tyres now. Although I guess 19 laps is still a fair ways to go on mediums, although I think it might be doable. Yeah, absolutely carnage. And MDJ has gone to the soft tyre, so MDJ potentially having another pit stop to come.
Yeah, it's big shame for Ghost that he's missed that opportunity to come in the pit. I mean, it would be interesting to know whether he thinks maybe now actually the way this race is going, there's been 2 safety cars, whether there might be another one. So he may stick out on them potentially, but a big disaster really. Obviously he's kind of lucky that it's a safety car. He's been able to get back in, not drop too many places, but also now probably by the same token, he is going to drop places because that move's going to be forcing him.
Yeah, that's interesting. I don't know if he seemed got. So that's what's happened to got spooked then. So MD, okay, that's an interesting one there. So obviously, as we have Ghost coming in, Martin coming in. I don't know if you've seen the videos in the tier 1 Discord at all, but it looks like for Got Spooked, MDJ had got spun, or someone in front of Got Spooked got spun round. Got Spooked avoided them and clipped the grass, which meant the cars then broke traction and unfortunately passenger to the scene of the accident.
Yeah, I've just seen that now. Yeah, that's very unfortunate for Got Spooked. I did think he was sort of an innocent victim in the whole thing, really. And I remember it wasn't him that initially got spun. I just couldn't remember who it was. But yeah, it's a big shame there for Got Spooked. And as you say, once he hit that grass, he very much was a passenger in that whole moment.
So if you have just joined us, this is the Invictus Racing League Tier 1 for round number 14 at the Australian Grand Prix in partnership with gridfinder.com and Venturi Studios. We are under our second safety car of the night. This one caused by what looks like a little bit of contact between Blester and another, which unfortunately sent Blester into the wall at quite a high speed. I believe he's left the session possibly to go to the hospital for some observational checkups because it was a pretty hefty impact. But we're down to 12 drivers. And as a small update, Rick V is leading the way from Joshua Bashford, but we believe they're going to have to make another pit stop. Merckx is in third, Ashtube fourth, Owen fifth. Ghost is down in 10th place at the moment, but he did disconnect. He has got back in as the safety car. A little bit of a late call here. Not quite as late as it could be, but certainly not really a lot of time for the drivers to prepare here.
No, I think it was just waiting for Cameron to catch up at the back of the pack, and he was always going to catch up in this lap, so the game's obviously decided it's time to go. But we'll keep an eye for Ashtube here as well. One lap hold hard, he's going to be in a good position towards the end of this race if this stays green throughout.
And Rick VE trying to get going early on the final corner, almost lost it, and it means Joshua Bashford is going to be right there with him. Down to the first corner, Joshua Bashford has a slight look but thinks better of it. He's not quite close enough. Further back, it looks like we do have a move. Ghost was looking at Martin, but that line's going to make him vulnerable to MDJ. MDJ all on the grass, 3 wide. Joshua Bashford has taken the lead. Owen in front of Ashtube now, but side by side between Ghost and MDJ. These two know each other well. Oh, and Martin almost into the wall. Go away with it a little bit there, maybe a bit of front end damage. But Ghost gets past MDJ. So he's now up into 9th place. Meanwhile, we have Merckx side by side with Rick VE17. This is for 2nd place. That's very close through this long left-hander on the build up to 9. Merckx decides better of it. He's probably seen what can happen on the entry to there. But Owen is looking racy himself as he follows Merckx to the inside, turn 11. The McLaren goes through. Stinos will be looking to follow suit as well as Ghost and MDJ are still fighting it out through turn 12. They go still side by side. Here comes Cameron. So 3 wide into the penultimate corner. That doesn't normally work. There's more contact. Amazingly, they've all survived. Cameron Saw's been given a 3-second time penalty. Slightly harsh when you're racing with others, but it's up to the game to decide that one. And Cameron Saw gets past MDJ on those soft tyres. He's looking to really rip through this order. Meanwhile, Yeah, I just spotted that. Merck's down the inside, and Joshua Bashford not exactly making it easy for his teammate here. Owen's not going to be too happy with that from the McLaren call. But Merck's into the lead, and yeah, I'm surprised Joshua Bashford isn't letting Owen go, because this is going to let Merck disappear into the distance.
Yeah, absolutely. Owen sort of threw it up the inside of Joshua a little bit there into turn 3, but yeah, he now switches to contact between the two McLarens. This is a little bit too feisty between the teammates. It's not really what you're looking for, is to try and make contact at such a high-speed section. And now this has allowed Stinos a run on Joshua as well.
Oh! Stinos has a good save from Stinos there in terms of the turn 11 slide. But that was definitely not on the cards. Now Bashford has front wing damage. And what a bottleneck. Stinos has been pushed around, and there's more collisions behind. It's absolute calamity at the penultimate corner. DRS has been enabled meanwhile. And more people into the pits. Bashford, both AlphaTauris into the pits. All the while, Rick VE is holding up Ashtube and Rock Lee like you wouldn't believe. And Merck has a 1.6 second gap as here comes Rock Lee to the outside. Gets a little bit of a squeeze, but he just manages to find an Alfa Romeo sized gap to get through there. Stinos also in the pits after that carnage, and yeah, that's really shaken things up in the fight for constructors between AlphaTauri and Ferrari.
Well, massively. I mean, they're both. There's only one AlphaTauri currently scoring a point out of the 3 drivers. I didn't quite see what happened. There was an AlphaTauri went into the back of Stinos there at the end of that sequence of events, but it all initially started. Stinos was down the left-hand side of who was it now? It was who was it? I forgot. Joshua, sorry. And yeah, Joshua just sort of came across to the left, gave no room at all to Stinos, and it turned Joshua around in front of him, and yeah, unfortunately, it's given lots of people damage, and it's a few bits of contact. I mean, in fact, I think probably what happened was maybe one of the AlphaTauris has hit the back of Stinos, and then the following AlphaTauri has also made contact.
Oh, that's a big moment for Rick VE out of the final corner. He just had a massive twitch. He's lost an end plate, but he's very lucky to still be going, because that sort of impact, I'm amazed he's not lost his front right corner. Sorry to interrupt there, Bruce.
No, that's cool. Just looking now, because we've got Joshua on Ghost, but I think Ghost has just got past Joshua now. But yeah, these guys, the group of 4 guys now at the back are a long way back, and Stinos is coming in the pits, and this could actually be a retirement potentially.
Could be, or is he going to maybe slap on his old hard tyres again?
Get another front wing.
Maybe he didn't have it set to being changed. Meanwhile, Ashtube down the inside of Rock Lee into turn 9. That's a good move from the Red Bull. And Cameron, who was miles behind the pack at one point in this race, is now fighting with Rock Lee. And remember, Cameron is a reserve. He is not scoring team points for Red Bull. So, whilst he's driving in the same team as Ashtube, he is not his teammate as such. It's basically like an F2 sort of thing. Same team, but completely different aspirations between the two.
Yeah, absolutely. It'd be interesting to see here, because obviously Ashtube is dropping back a bit, being on those hard tyres. But at some point, those hard tyres again start working for him, like comparatively compared to the medium tyres. So, yeah. And especially, obviously, he's just been overtaken by Cameron, but Cameron's on soft tyres, so he's going to have to stop. So really, for Ashtube now, this is a case of trying to stick this out as long as he possibly can, try and stay out of trouble, make no mistakes, and see if he can make the most, as he kind of lets MDJ pass, didn't really fight that, and if anything, backed off to let him through. But yeah, for him now, if he can just keep this clean to the end of the race, I think he could be in a very good position at the end of it.
Yeah, interesting strategies as well from the AlphaTauri team, because Ghost did pick up the fastest lap on his mediums. However, Reshka's running around on his softs, and he's now just taking that away. Now, Reshka's 11th at the moment, which means he won't get the point, and nor will the AlphaTauri team. So he's kind of taken a point away there, but Ghost running in 8th at the moment is picking up 3 points for the team, which means I think they'll go into Japan at the last round a point behind Ferrari, if I'm not mistaken. Possibly level.
Still all to play for then, and yeah, obviously maybe Reska not quite getting the memo there on that one, but it'd be interesting now to see Rock Lee's catching up with Ashtube and Cameron in front and MDJ. Be interested to see whether or not Ashtube lets Rock Lee pass in the same manner that he let MDJ pass. Because for him at the moment, there's no need to fight you guys on the mediums. I think it'll only go wrong from this point. So a sensible head would probably not try to fight too hard.
Yeah, it makes me wonder if he kind of let MDJ through to gain that DRS, because obviously Cameron on those softs is going to pull a gap against Ashtube on the hard. So I wonder if he thought, I've got a better chance of staying within a second of MDJ here to claim the DRS, because there's 4 DRS zones around this circuit, and they're all incredibly powerful tools. I mean, not necessarily to overtake someone, but to use them in defence instead. I mean, you can see just how much Ashtube has rocked up to the back of MDJ through the back 2 DRS zones. We have a yellow flag. I think that's Reshka. He has gone round at turn 5.
Indeed he has. The car still looks like it's in okay shape, so hopefully no need for him to come in for another pit stop, although he's going to have to soon anyway because he's on the soft tyres and they're not going to get to the end of the race.
Confirmation Sky Bluster's getting an EKG apparently at the hospital as a precaution. But back to the racing, and I think this is a smart move here from Ashtube. And MDJ, the light's already flashing for him going down to turn 3. He's burning a lot of ERS at the start of this restart. But Ashtube doing a very nice job here of just staying within DRS, and it's going to make it hard, as that is Rock Lee round at turn 5.
Yeah, indeed it is. So yeah, the pressure that was on Ashtube there from behind has now disappeared. So Ashtube will be delighted with that, and yeah, maybe now gives him a bit more sort of free time. I don't know. I think maybe he is just trying to stick with MDJ because he knows that the chances are MDJ is going to have to come in for another pit stop, or he's going to be struggling towards the end of the race. So as long as he can stick with him now, I think a podium is potentially on the cards for the Red Bull driver, as Reshka now comes out of the pit. So he's put on some mediums that he's already used in the race so far. And
but they should go to the end, and Cameron almost loses it in the pit entry. That's a good save from Cameron. He's now in the pits for a set of medium tyres to go to the end of the race. Martin, I mean, we haven't spoken a lot about Martin. He's been in the wars a little bit, but he's currently 5th on his medium tyres. I mean, he's running a very nice race so far.
Yeah, I wonder whether Martin now, if he feels the mediums aren't going to get to the end as well, whether he'll feel the need to maybe come in for some softs towards the end. I think maybe that's what you could see from the likes of Merck and Owen as well. It is potentially the switch to softs for the last sort of 5 or 6 laps, perhaps, just to try and catch up big time. Yeah, this could be a very interesting strategy. We've seen people before go on very, very long runs on the mediums, but you've got to be careful that you're not sort of bordering puncture territory. And obviously in Qatar we saw that with quite a few people gaining punctures towards the end of each stint.
Yeah, and I guess the other thing to work out is how much is it worth having those fresh softs at the end, because obviously you're going to lose a fair chunk of time here, because it's not the pit lane, whilst it's not exactly long, obviously the speeds of all the cars around the circuit are quite high. So I can't remember what the pit lane time loss is, but you have to either have that gap built up to warrant doing it, or think that you're going to pull potentially 4 seconds a lap out of someone.
Yeah, I mean, obviously for Merck at the moment, looking at the next person that's definitely not going to pit is Ashtube. So he's about 9 seconds up or so, just over 9 seconds. So you'd have to think that Merck probably could bolt on softs and catch up, and Owen I think would be in that ballpark as well. but obviously MDJ I think would struggle. So yeah, as you say, this could be very interesting to see exactly what everyone attempts to do towards the end of this race. I think AshTube would probably be more than happy to see everyone come into pits, but I think also at the same time, he'd also kind of half like to see people try and stick it out to the end, because I think he'd know then towards the end he's going to be in a very good position with the grip.
Yeah, absolutely. As he's looking to the outside of MDJ, is that crossover coming a bit sooner than we all expected? He's very much sticking to the back of that Williams. I guess the other thing is, if we are thinking maybe that Merckx and Owen may go in for softs, Owen surely has to be the one to instigate that and try and undercut.
Absolutely. I mean, and that's another thing as well, is if Merckx does come into the pits, does Owen then go, well, okay, well, actually, in that case, I'm just going to try and stick this out to the end? So, yeah, lots of variables here, strategy-wise, towards the end of this race. And, yeah, there's still a lot of racing to go, even though it's sort of settled down a little bit as MDJ has a bit of a moment out of that car park. This has still got quite a bit to play out in it, strategy-wise, I think.
Yeah, and, I mean, we could put out some really dodgy suggestions, because it wouldn't be the first time that Merckx has listened in on the stream. We've said an idea as there goes AshTube round the outside of MDJ. You kind of felt that was very much slowly coming in terms of that move. But yeah, it wouldn't be the first time that Merckx has heard us say a suggestion and then he decide to do it. So I mean, we might give some interesting options to him and see if he picks one of the crazy ones. Come in, get some intermediates or something. But yeah, AshTube up into third. Question is, can he now extend that gap, get out of the DRS? Because if you feel if MDJ can stay in the DRS, he's still, regardless of tyre life, he's still very much a threat.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's the key thing here now, as you say, for AshTube, is to try and get away from the thing. Did we say earlier that there was a bit of harvesting from the Williams already? So, yeah.
We have a virtual safety car. I don't know what that's for. I can't see anyone stopped on circuit.
No, it's a very strange one, that.
Is that?
Looking around.
Has anyone lost a front wing?
Slowly scrolling through the grid. Yes, SFR Martin is missing a front wing, so he's... Yeah, currently driving the Formula Ford version of the Haas at the moment, unfortunately. It's a big shame for Martin, because he's had an excellent race up to this point and a really solid 5th position. It must have been a quick moment, because he was about 3 or 4 seconds behind MDJ anyway, so he's only dropped a couple of seconds and lost a front wing in the process. So, yeah, I should expect he'll probably come in and put softs on now. But yeah, a bit of a disaster as we go back to proper racing again. MDJ is going to catch AshTube.
Yeah, AshTube. I don't quite know what AshTube was doing. He was very wide through 12, and that's just like an open door invitation, isn't it, to MDJ? And let's face it, he doesn't normally turn those invitations down. So yeah, I wonder if AshTube's gone back to the throttle mid corner and it's just snapped on him a little bit. And made him go wide. What's a big shame here for Martin is that obviously he's back in the pits as here comes AshTube once again back down the inside for turn 3. I think the bigger shame for Martin really is the fact that we were under virtual safety car, but it was always going to end before he got back to the pits, because if he'd managed to pit under the virtual safety car, there was a chance he'd come out and have a bit of a fight with someone, but that's obviously not going to happen anymore, although he's still in the points.
Yeah, absolutely. Just bad timing and just unfortunate for him, really. It's
that's a bit wide from Rockley.
MDJ has just sailed past AshTube again under DRS there. Absolutely nothing that AshTube could do about it. AshTube doesn't really want to get too embroiled in a fight here, really. I think he knows he's got the pace to get that podium, and I think now it's a good time to just play it sensible. MDJ, though, is having a fair attack on this lap and is nearing getting out of DRS, and there we go. He's over a second. Oh, I think he may have just snuck back into it then.
You remember the detection point for these first two zones are prior to the penultimate corner. And that detection serves for both of these zones as well. So Ashtube should close in. But again, I do wonder if this is MDJ using a lot of ERS early to try and break that DRS. Because obviously whilst under virtual safety car, you will kind of harvest that energy back. But as we've seen, especially around here, I feel that if you use your ERS early, but if others save it, they've got a good chance of coming back at you come the end of this race.
Yeah, definitely. You need, especially as the lead car in a group, you do need it to defend because the DRS around here is incredibly powerful. Just a little note: Ghost has quietly made his way up back into 6th place, which is excellent news for the constructors, as the Ferrari of Sinos and the other AlphaTauri are currently not scoring points.
Joshua Bashford gets past Rock Lee for 7th place, and now he's on his hunt for Ghost. Ghost, let's have a look at the time penalties actually, because Owen has 6 seconds worth of penalties here. Now, it wouldn't surprise me if he contests one of those penalties from earlier this race, well, it depends how many warnings he's got. Cameron Searle and Ghost both have 3 seconds. Rock Lee has 6. Martin Stinos both have 3, with Reshka on 6 as well. So Joshua Bashford does not have to necessarily overtake Ghost. However, as we've seen before, sometimes it's better in case those drivers try to claim those points back. And Rock Lee coming into the pits, I can only imagine for some damage. He's retired.
Retired?
I'm not really sure why.
Yeah, very strange decision now. Not quite sure about that one either, but there we go. That's another place made, and that's Stinos now into the points. Obviously, a lot further down than he'd have liked after the start of the race, but yeah, every point's going to count in this battle with AlphaTauri.
Worth noting, Owen's 3.4 behind Merckx. I'm pretty certain that was a little bit higher earlier.
Yeah, it was. I think it was around the 5 or 6 second mark, wasn't it? So, yeah, maybe Merckx made a small mistake somewhere along the line.
And currently Owen just about, because obviously even though Owen may contest one of those 3 second penalties he's got, obviously we have to take everything as it is right now, and Owen is just about keeping that second place from MDJ.
Yeah, absolutely. And they're both on similar sort of worn tyres, really. 15 laps for MDJ and 16 for Owen. A sector 1 yellow.
I think that's just Reshka getting lapped by Merckx.
Oh, Reshka, okay. So yeah, it's very, very tight here. And yeah, as you say, MDJ now just drops back under that 6 seconds. But yeah, there's not going to be a lot in this between the two of them, I think, come the end of this race.
And we're going to have a bit of a battle here for 6th between Ghost and Joshua Bashford. Obviously, Ghost does have that 3 second time penalty, which would drop him to 7th. Be 4 points for the AlphaTauri to Stinos' 1. And I've had a look at the points table. It would mean that they would be level going into Japan in the last round for that battle for 2nd in the Constructors. So that would be a very interesting thing to look at. And it would be interesting to see if maybe Jeremy Clarkson may come back for a round to help his team secure that title. But well, I say that title, that 2nd place in the championship. Stinos in the pits, and I can only assume he's doing that. He's on soft. He's looking for that fastest lap point.
Yeah, as I think that was Owen that just kind of drove through him then. So not quite sure what happened there. Was that Owen? Yeah, it must have been Owen.
Reshka looking to the outside. Both of them on your screen currently ghosted because they are lapped cars, but they are well and truly fighting. And Stinos will keep hold of it, but Stinos will want some DRS from Owen here for that fastest lap attempt, because if you can get some DRS, it'll make it a lot easier to take that fastest lap away from what I believe is Reshka currently. Meanwhile, Merck's still leading this race. 4 seconds now the gap, so he's extending that advantage. MDJ currently third, and he has pulled a near 2-second gap to Ashtube now, who himself is near 2 seconds to Cameron. He's got 10.2 seconds, 10.3 seconds to this battle for 6th place between Joshua Bashford and Ghost. So it doesn't really look like Joshua Bashford is really kind of looking for a move here at the moment. I don't know whether he's waiting till the end or maybe thinking that he's going to use Ghost's penalty as that buffer, and he just has to stay with him.
Yeah, absolutely. I think there is no real, need, is there, for the attempt of an overtake. I did notice already. Joshua did back out when he had a small chance to overtake, as Stinos picks up a 3-second penalty. So I'm assuming that means potentially that lap will be invalidated for him on his attempt to get the fastest lap of the race.
Not quite sure how the game does that or not. Not quite sure. Well, I guess we'll find out in a minute if he sets the quickest lap or not. Ashtube, I can see why Ashtube is now running slow. He's run out of ERS, and here comes Cameron Searle. Now, ideally, Ashtube needs to defend this from Cameron. Oh, Cameron getting all sideways out of 11. But yeah, Ashtube really could do with defending this from Cameron, because Cameron isn't scoring points for Red Bull. And there goes Stinos, a 1:18.3 fastest lap.
Yeah, I'm interested to see. Cameron's got 3 seconds, was it? Or 6 seconds, I can't remember. I think it was 3 for Cameron, wasn't it? So, as we hit the last lap, I mean, yeah, Ashtube would only have to stay, obviously, within the 3 seconds anyway. So that's a crash for MDJ.
MDJ. And that's all on his own.
Yeah, I assume he's got on the curb and lost the back end. And, well, that's the Williams out, and that's popped Ashtube now up into 3rd place.
Wow. I mean, this series does really bring out all sorts of various racing and incidents, and it definitely doesn't disappoint, because on the last lap, MDJ has lost the rear through turns 1 and 2, and he's crashed out of this Australian Grand Prix, which means no points. Cameron
goes past. But no need to panic for Ashtube. He just has to sit behind, and he's going to get the podium.
Meanwhile, at the front, he's been very dominant this season with his teammate of Emir. It's, I think, no one else has won a race bar the Aston Martins. It will be Merck who wins the Australian Grand Prix to confirm the dominance of his season so far. Owen will finish in 2nd. Cameron still drifting out of the final corner. He's going to cross the line 3rd, but it will be Ashtube in the Red Bull who takes, I believe, his first podium of the season. I could be wrong at that, though. Cameron comes home in 4th on his return. Ghost will cross the line 5th, but he will finish in 6th as Joshua Bashford takes the top 5. Ghost in 6th. Rick, VE17, quietly makes his way into 7th. Good race from him. Martin in 8th. Stinos will finish in 9th. And by IRL rules, Reshka will pick up a point, because if you do not finish, you do not get classified.
Yeah, absolutely. So, yeah, that's brilliant for Reshka, obviously, to get that point, not at the best race. I mean, he was having a really solid race at one point, and it just all unravelled at the midpoint of the race. But yeah, it's definitely keeping this second place constructors fight interesting, isn't it? And yeah, the flow of it is changing on a pretty consistent basis.
Yeah, I do tell a lie, and that is Ashtube's 2nd podium of the season. Driver of the day goes to Ashtube. I mean, it was a good drive from him in the end. I mean, getting those hard tyres to the end of that race in a podium position is fantastic to see. A few incidents, quite a few of the incidents actually quite weird. I wouldn't have said any of them are really all that straightforward, but There's Merc collecting his winner's trophy. And he's going to have to buy another cabinet at some point, I think. But 14 races, 14 Aston Martin victories. Come on, we want to see someone else in the top step in Japan. Anyone.
We're not fussy. Anyone will do.
Get Reshko on the top step. He'll love that. Bruce, would you like to take us through the provisional results?
Absolutely, yeah. So winning the race from pole position, Merck there in the Aston Martin. An excellent race there for second from Owen there from 7th on the grid, and even better, well, a similar quality of race for Astube there, I think, going from 13th on the grid to 3rd. Cameron Searle in 4th in a Red Bull with Joshua Bashford 5th, Ghost 6th, Rick 7th, SFR Martin 8th, Stinos 9th. Reska, we believe, will be 10th with MDJ, Rockley, Leicester, and Gotsboot DNF in from the race.
Yeah. I would say that's the first Tier 1 race he's had without technical issues in quite a while, which is somewhat good to see. We're going to ask Mert and Owen to do a write-up. Just make sure that Ashtube is in. I believe he is in. The party. Or maybe not. Bruce, you just confirm, is it Ashtube 1212?
It is correct, yes.
So whilst we wait for that one, for obviously the write-ups and hopefully Ashtube to join us for a quick interview. And speak of Ashtube, here he is. So yeah, good evening, Ashtube. Obviously, just make sure your settings are all correct to make sure everyone who's watching can hear you. Perfect. But congratulations on your second podium of the season, your second third place. It's been a bit of an up and down season for you, so another podium kind of comes as a very welcome addition to your season. And obviously, your strategy, taking the hards to the end of the race, how difficult was that, especially with the likes of MDJ behind you, Rockley? Because on that final restart, it looks like you were getting kind of attacked from all sorts of angles due to those tyre differences. Absolutely. Bruce, do you have any questions for Ashtube?
Yeah, well done on the podium, mate. Speaking of the tyre difference, obviously normally we see the mediums go off towards the end, and for a while you were sort of tucked up behind MDJ, not really attacking too much. Were you expecting his tyres to maybe go off a little bit more towards the end than they actually did? So you could sort of have a better go with those harder tyres to the end, or were you just sort of expecting him to have that slight advantage, obviously, until his incident at the end there?
Absolutely. And obviously, looking for your season, obviously going into tonight, you're 11th. You're going to pick up 10 points tonight. It's going to probably put you up to possibly eighth, ninth place area. I mean, in terms of season, as we said, it's been up and down. Obviously, various circuits you've been stronger at compared to others. But when you have finished, when you have got your finishes in, and also you've got your 2 podiums, how do you feel the season has really gone in that respect, in terms of when you've got to the end? Have you been happy with most of your races? Absolutely. And one final thing, obviously, the finale next week at Japan, at Suzuka. How do you feel about that circuit and going into, obviously, especially with the improvements that you've made this season? Brilliant. Well, congratulations on your podium, Ashtube, and thank you for joining us in the commentary box. In terms of the other drivers on the podium, also you had Merck, who won the race. If I just scroll down, because Merck and Owen have kindly done some write-ups. Merck's saying he started P1, which was a surprise to him, as quality hasn't been going well for him recently. His race pace was good. Strategy was all over the place due to the safety cars, but he managed to get to the end and get away from the chaos. Congrats to the rest of the podium. Owen, in standard Owen fashion, I tell you what, Bruce, it's a fantastic thing to see Owen on the podium finally. Or again, I can't quite remember the specific stats, but I mean, considering the season Owen's had, it's fantastic to see him on that podium.
Yeah, definitely. He's in all fairness had a torrid time of it at times this season. So, and he's clearly got the pace, and we've been saying all year he's had the pace, but he's either had issues with disconnects or got caught up in incidents or little mistakes here and there. So, yeah, really good to see him have a pretty clean race, and show him what he can actually do when things go well for him.
Yeah, and in his write-up, and I mean, like I say, this is absolutely typical Owen, because it really is typical. He's great to have a chat with sometimes. He goes, shout out to the fans, blessed and hashtag grateful. And as I say, very Owen-y thing to do. He said he had a decent start on the sauce, but just struggled adjusting to the setup at the start. He messed up, but was saved by the safety car. Middle stint was carnage. Final stint was disappointing. He wasn't able to try and challenge Merck with a mistake as soon as the DRS came. MDJ was close to his 6 seconds at the end, but he had 50% of battery for the last lap, and one of them was an penalty anyway. Unfortunately, he was unfortunate that he didn't manage to snag P3. First time in weeks his game hasn't minimised off freezing, so he's happy with that result. And yeah, I think everyone's going to be happy there for Owen. As we say, he's had a lot of pace this season, and just torrid, I'm going to call it mechanical troubles, because in the world of sim racing, mechanical troubles is issues with that happen either in the software or the hardware of whatever you're using.
Yeah, absolutely, and it can happen to anyone, but it does seem to happen to the same people over and over again, which can be obviously massively frustrating for them. But yeah, I mean, I'm delighted for both Owen and Ashtube, for getting on the podium. It's fantastic results and testament for their patience really with the season. As you say, Ashtube saying his season had maybe gone quite as sort of as well as he'd have hoped, but he's picked up the pieces when he's had good races, and yeah, great to see Owen there. And yeah, whilst obviously I haven't said it's great to see Merck there, we're just so used to seeing him there. It was just nice to see a slightly more mixed up podium tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. And just looking back at the stats, that is Owen's first podium of the season, which is quite incredible, really. 14 races, and he finally gets that first podium of the season, which is good to see. But just a final thing on the stream, Japan, Suzuka, what's your thoughts on that circuit, especially with it being the finale? and still lots to play for some people.
Yeah, it's a fantastic old school circuit. An excellent track to drive. Curbs can be a little bit lethal in places around there, but yeah, it's super high speed, lots of concentration, and yeah, still it's not a massively wide track. Like I say, it's one of the old school ones, so yeah, not a lot of room for error, but yeah, hopefully this should bring us plenty of good racing, and I suspect it'll be just as dramatic as it was tonight.
Absolutely, and I've just seen some footage from Merck's on board, and he amazingly got away with a massive moment on lap 25. He lost the rear end through 6 and walloped the back end on the wall, and amazingly got away with it. But yeah, no, absolutely. So, as we say, that's the end of Tier 1 for this week. Join myself tomorrow for RP. I may have someone join me, but we'll see what happens. Unfortunately, Jack unable to be there tomorrow, so it might be me on my own or me and someone else. That's from 8 o'clock tomorrow, and then next week we have Japan. Obviously, the Tier 3, Tier 4 on Monday, Tier 2 on Tuesday, and we're back on Wednesday for the last round of Tier 1 at Suzuka. But from myself and Bruce, thank you for watching. This has been the Invictus Racing League Tier 1 in partnership with GridFinder.com and Venturi Studios. We shall see you all once again for more racing. Good night.